Picture a quiet Dallas neighborhood shattered by gunfire, a mother and her toddler vanishing into the night, and a trail of bodies leading to one man, a ruthless drug kingpin whose name sent chills through Texas. Geno Camacho wasn't just a criminal. He was a monster who left a legacy of bloodshed so horrific it haunted even the toughest FBI agents. In 1988, his rampage claimed at least 4 lives, including a young boy and a woman whose fate was unspeakably gruesome. This is the story of a man who ruled with an iron fist, a case so shocking it was called the most grotesque trial since Charles Manson. How did one man's greed and brutality spiral into such evil? And how was he finally brought to justice? Buckle up, because this true crime tale will leave you stunned. Hit that like button if you're ready for a wild ride, and let's dive in. On May 20th, 1988, the southeast Dallas neighborhood of Pleasant Grove was about to become the stage for a nightmare. Genaro Camacho, a 33-year-old cannabis smuggler tied to a powerful Mexican cartel, was on a mission. He wasn't just a dealer, he was a feared kingpin, known for his explosive temper and zero tolerance for betrayal. That night, armed with a MAC-10 submachine gun and a .357 handgun, Camacho and 3 henchmen stormed a crack house on Bearden Lane, hunting for Sam Wright, a 57-year-old drug fugitive who owed him between $10,000 and $20,000 from a botched marijuana deal. Living with Wright was 31-year-old Evellyn Banks and her 3-year-old son, Andre. Also present was David Wilburn, a 25-year-old with a mental disability who worked for Wright. As Camacho's crew burst in, chaos erupted. Wilburn, unaware of the danger, tried to intervene. Without hesitation, Camacho ordered him to lie on the floor. Then, in a chilling act of cruelty, he shot Wilburn in the back of the head, for no apparent reason. Sam Wright managed to slip away, running into the night to call the police. But Evellyn and little Andre weren't so lucky. Camacho's men handcuffed Evellyn, grabbed her son, and fled in a car, vanishing into the Texas darkness. For 3 days, their fate was unknown. What happened next would sicken even seasoned investigators. 3 days later, FBI agents uncovered a scene that would haunt them forever. In a rural Oklahoma field, they found the bodies of Evellyn Banks and her son, Andre, dumped in a makeshift grave. Both had been shot execution style, their bodies riddled with bullets. Evellyn was still in handcuffs, her son curled up beside her in his pajamas. The sheer brutality of a mother and child murdered over a drug debt shocked even veteran agent Tossie Bailey, who vowed to bring Camacho to justice. But Evellyn and Andre weren't Camacho's only victims. Another woman, Pamela Miller, a Dallas topless dancer, met an even more horrifying end. Camacho and his accomplice, Spencer Stanley, enraged over a dispute, killed her and dismembered her body with an axe. Then, in a scene straight out of a horror movie, they fed her remains through a rented tree mulcher, scattering fragments across a field half the size of a football field. Agents found bits of tissue hanging from trees and a jawbone that identified Pamela. Bailey later said, "Some people are just pure evil." Camacho's reign of terror didn't stop there. He was already wanted in South Texas for killing a man with a shotgun over a petty insult. His crew operated with cartel backing, moving drugs across state lines and silencing anyone who crossed them. But after the Pleasant Grove murders, Camacho fled to Arcelia, Mexico, a drug haven controlled by heavily armed cartels, where he thought he was untouchable. The FBI wasn't about to let Camacho slip away. Agent Taze Bailey, leading the Dallas Violent Crime Squad, got a tip from a DEA informant that Camacho was hiding in Arcelia, Guerrero. Mexican authorities warned that an arrest there would spark a bloodbath due to cartel control. So Bailey devised a bold plan, a sting operation to lure Camacho back to the US. Using a drug contact, the FBI tricked Camacho into crossing the border near McAllen, Texas, promising a lucrative deal. As soon as his foot touched US soil, agents swarmed him. Camacho, the stocky, swarthy kingpin, was finally in cuffs. But even in custody, he was defiant, denying the murders despite overwhelming evidence. The 1988 manhunt was later featured in the FBI Files episode Cracking the Cartel, revealing how Bailey's team outsmarted a cartel-backed killer. But the real battle was just beginning in the courtroom, where Camacho's crimes would shock a jury. In 1993, Camacho faced trial in Dallas for the capital murder of David Wilburn and the kidnapping and murders of Evellyn and Andre Banks. A separate federal trial convicted him of kidnapping across state lines, earning him a life sentence. The evidence was damning: witness testimonies, forensic matches, and Camacho's own history of violence. The jury also heard about Pamela Miller's gruesome murder, though the motive, possibly a drug dispute or personal grudge, remained unclear. The trial was a spectacle. The judge called the case the most grotesque and bizarre set of facts since the Manson murders. Prosecutors painted Camacho as a cold-blooded predator, arguing his premeditation and cruelty made him a permanent danger. The jury agreed, sentencing him to death. While on death row, Camacho showed no remorse, even as his family, daughter Teresa and sons Genaro and Marco, visited him. On August 26, 1998, Camacho faced his final moments at Huntsville's death chamber. His last meal was steak, baked potato, salad, and strawberry ice cream. Strapped to the gurney, he spoke to his family through a glass window, saying, "I'll see you on the other side. Adios." The execution was delayed 2 hours because nurses couldn't find a suitable vein. A grim irony for a man who spilled so much blood. As the lethal injection took hold, Agent Bailey watched, later saying he got off easy compared to what his victims endured. Genaro Camacho's reign of terror ended, but its scars remain. The Pleasant Grove murders and Pamela Miller's horrific death left a community shaken, and investigators like Taze Bailey forever changed. In a 2024 True Crime Reporter podcast, Bailey recalled the case's brutality, comparing it to the cartel violence still plaguing Mexico today. Online, true crime fans on Reddit and X speculate about other murders Camacho may have committed, with some claiming he was linked to up to 6 killings, though only 4 were confirmed. The case raises chilling questions. How does someone become so devoid of humanity? Was Camacho a product of the cartel's ruthless world, or was he simply born evil? And what about the victims' families left to grapple with unimaginable loss? Evellyn's surviving children, who were at school during the kidnapping, have never spoken publicly, their pain locked away. The story of Genaro Camacho is a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind a drug deal, a debt, or a single wrong move. It's a case that still haunts Dallas, a tale of pure evil brought to justice, but at a terrible cost. Genaro Geno Camacho's name may have faded, but his crimes burn bright in true crime history. What do you think drove him to such brutality? Was it greed, power, or something darker? Drop your theories in the comments. I'm dying to hear them. If this story sends shivers down your spine, smash that like button and subscribe for more true crime that hits hard. Because some killers don't just take lives, they leave a mark you can't erase.